Welcome back Southeast Asia to the Garena Premier League Spring Season 2018. My name is Vulcan, with me is Artek, your shotcasters entering Game 4. And oh man, I'm just gonna crumple up my prediction and throw it out the window because Kuala Lumpur Hunters actually winning out on that Game 3. So the dream is still alive for Malaysia right now to represent Southeast Asia at MSI. But the question is history potentially gonna repeat itself with Kuala Lumpur Hunters going for a reverse sweep? That's something that Ascension Gaming under any circumstances does not want to happen. But let's go ahead and see what adjustments they'll make as we head into this Game 4, because Game 3 was pretty darn intense for Kuala Lumpur Hunters. I really like the changes that they made leading up to that victory.
And as for the games 1 and 2, especially Game 2, you saw how Kuala Lumpur Hunters were so close to mounting a victory there. But when it came to Game 3, you saw the quick adjustments, the adaptation, and not to mention the composition, the Galio and the Nocturne, which left Lloyd completely helpless.
And I don't know, this is just kind of a scenario wherein I feel like game after game after game, Kuala Lumpur Hunters, they're kind of like the cheese in a way. That as it ages, it gets all the more good. And that's just good for the squad right here. It just goes to show that they know how to adapt. They know what weaknesses became kind of exploitable by Ascension Gaming in the earlier parts, making the necessary adjustments, whether it be in playstyle, whether it be in terms of draft. But let's go ahead and see if Kuala Lumpur Hunters can continue to build up on this as we head into Game 4.
It's like Game 1 was where Ascension Gaming was creating the momentum on their side. As we progressed to Game 2, Kuala Lumpur Hunters felt a bit, let's say, overpowered, so they would try and take away a victory. They were so close. What stopped that was the Trundle, which outpushed themselves. But as we progressed onto Game 3, looks like Kuala Lumpur Hunters are actually ready now. This time, woken up that they can still have the fight in them. The dream is still alive for KLH to try and go for the reverse sweep as we head on to the 4th game of the Best of 5 series.
So far, looking at these bans, pretty much what we saw banned out by Kuala Lumpur Hunters. I mean, in these Best of 5s, the teams start realizing what they just flat out don't want to risk opening up anymore, so it's just reached a much more consistent speed at this point. I mean, just very much classic Caspios Olaf being banned out, what the Jess gonna be taking off one of his prime picks. Same goes for Kuala Lumpur Hunters. This Rise just a constant ban onto G4. Meanwhile, this Jax was just such a beast in one of the earlier games, so just gonna be a constant ban as well from the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Cassiopeia this time around gonna be taken away from G4.
And at this point, we are seeing the Rise, the Jax being removed from Ascension's side. And as for the junglers, we only see the Olaf ban the side of Ascension. And as for KLH, they're quick to hover on this Camille.
Yes, meanwhile, Swain just going to be the last ban right there. Again, another one of the champions which Kuala Lumpur Hunters had much success with during the semifinals, leading up to proceeding as one of the finalists here in the Garena Premier League. Looks like we still see Kuala Lumpur Hunters figuring out what they're going to go for. Looks like they find comfort in that Varus for Azora Vecchi now.
So the question is, will Ascension give away one of the supports that go well with this Varus? One of the Braum picks that we saw previously being run by Ascension, but immediately got rather rendered useless because of the fact that the Nocturne and the Galio can just simply bypass the protection.
But still waiting for this second pick right here. I mean, this is just Ascension at this point, not wanting to make the mistakes as early as the drafting phase. Kind of doesn't want a repeat of what happened earlier during Game 3, where it had quite the struggle there. And that was KLH. I really like just all the adjustments that they managed to make up until that point, which proved to lead to a much more dominating performance. Meanwhile, looks like the Skarner is going to be locked in for Entresso here. So interesting. We're going to be seeing Entresso making the plays, not necessarily as the primary carry, but gonna stick to once again being much more of the potential pull-in set for Ascension Gaming to allow the other members of Ascension to shine. In this case, Saya, much more of a comfort once again here to Lloyd, gonna lock that in right there. So I'm wondering, is it gonna be a classic Saya Rakan, or if they're gonna pair it with a little bit of a different shake-up of a support?
I can actually picture what KLH may go for. During our 3rd game, we didn't see the Shen for the Galio comp. Could they go for this again? Because I think if the Shen goes support, it's still okay. It's a flex pick. As for Ascension, the Skarner was left open. They will go and take it away. As for KLH, could they go for the jungler? Yes, they will. It will be the Sejuani being locked in. looks like Sejuani in D, a little bit more of a safer pick here for Caspiel. Sejuani has pretty much been up and running in the GPL as of this recent season, so no surprises at this point. And there you go. As we are seeing here, it looks like it is going to be the traditional pair up right here for the bot lane of Ascension by going for the Saya and Rakan tandem. Meanwhile, looks like Kuala Lumpur Hunters, Ascension, they're not going to allow this Galio through once again for KLH, seeing very well just how efficient it was used. So just no tricks up that slave this time around. But then again, I think KLH, by not taking the Galio within that first rotation, was pretty much anticipating that.
This could be the comeback for KLH, as in the best of 5 series, reverse sweeps do happen. Ascension may feel the pressure here as we are loading up to our 4th game. And now for Ascension, they are at the last banning phase. What will they go? This could be very decisive because we don't see the mid laner being hovered yet for locked in for KLH just yet. And the Azir has been removed.
Azir has been removed here for our hedge. So looks like a lot of heavy focus here once again on the mid laners. We're kind of back to that scenario that we encountered during game 1, that they're trying to exhaust the pools of both our hedge and G4 respectively. Not just exhausting the pools, but in general taking what could complement these compositions right here that have been drafted for both sides. Looks like KLH going to switch it up a bit by going for, instead of a mid ban here, the top ban from Rocky.
Now the question is, what can KLH go for this pick? As we are seeing Ascension. No mid laner being picked up just yet. The Camille has been removed. As for the top laner for Ascension, they would go for the Sion, one of a safe pick. They can assume that maybe this Shen would be smart, but instead will go for the
So a little bit more of a scenario for Ascension wherein there's a lot of tools wherein they could set off potential picks. I mean, with the Skarner and Rakan just straight off the bat, further complemented by just a stronger team fight in the form of this Ornn to contend with the Shen in the top lane. Meanwhile, looks like it's going to be very classic right there. Varus combined with the Braum for the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. They are yet to secure in a mid laner for our hedge. I wonder how this will be wrapped up here by the Malaysian squad.
I'm kind of surprised that for Ascension, they did use their last bans towards the mid lane, the Azir. Quite understandable, so they would give away the Vladimir and the Braum towards KLH's side. Now, let's see. Ascension, last picking for the mid lane.
Vladimir, gonna be that lock-in for our hedge. Another prime pick, not just for our hedge himself, but that's another champion that G4 also could have taken full advantage of. We do see that hover over and that nod of confirmation coming in from the coach of Ascension. He really wants in on that Kassadin, and that will indeed be the pick for G4 in this game. Okay, G4 in this game 4. Wow. But at the end of the day, both sides, a little bit of a shake-up happening as far as Caspiel. Kuala Lumpur Hunters playing a little bit more to what we've been seeing from them. Ascension Gaming, a lot more flexibility though with what they have been picking so far per head. So this is going to make for a very interesting fight eventually. I'm not really sure how Ascension is going to fare here.
Now, as we complete the drafting phase for our 4th game, note that this is still at championship point for Ascension Gaming, going for a 2-1 score against Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
So this is going to be it, ladies and gents. All the more intense. Kuala Lumpur Hunters looking to mount up their reverse sweep against Ascension Gaming. But by history, this is the very same scenario that Ascension Gaming was put in when they fell to Young Generation of Vietnam during the previous GPL. So, this time around, definitely don't want that to happen here for the Sai Squad, especially on their home turf. And be sure to show support for whoever you're supporting, whether it be KLH by using hashtag KLHWin if you want to see the Malaysian squad take it all the way as your reps for Southeast Asia in the MSI, or hashtag ASC win for Ascension Gaming. Home turf boys here, team from Thailand, hoping to get their representation once again in the international stage.
We'll see as we load up to the rift. This will be the 4th game. Again, Ascension Gaming, 1 more point away for representing the Southeast Asia in the upcoming MSI.
Man, looking at these drafts, it's a little bit more evened out here, I feel, because almost crucial to an extent, particularly for KLH, needs to mount those 2 more wins to get that reverse lead. Still quite a bit of a long way ahead, but let's go ahead and see how Game 4 pans out as we head on to the Rift.
Already we're seeing the teams here going for point guard. We are still at championship point.
Yep. Lots of these defensive maneuvers here, so I like how careful both sides have been playing this out for all these past 4 games. Nobody really going for these heavy on extensions anymore, going for those cheeky invades. It's mostly just taking those preemptive maneuvers to make sure that entrances are well guarded. So it looks like that is going to be the case once again. So very calm start here for both junglers at the end of the day, if I'm not mistaken. Looks like after that, KLH hitting past the first minute mark are going to go straight back to farming out, giving that leash to Caspiel.
So far, we do know that for Intereso, he will go for the Skarner in the jungle side. Has been left open in the first rotation, so might as well take it away. They did, however, take away the Camille band there. So KLH sitting at 1 point from that game 3. I wonder how they're feeling right now, because if the game 2 hiccup did not happen, and I think KLH is feeling that right now. The fans are also feeling that right now, that if only just for one more attack, we were so close for winning the championship. So far, Ascension took away 2 points there. KLH hungry for more.
Yeah, that could have been match point for KLH right now if they won that game right there, but fortunately not quite the case. Still have a bit more of a climb, more so than Ascension. But so far from what I'm seeing, looking at this bot lane, Lloyd and Rich have it quite pushed out in on here. And it's interesting to note that both marksmen have opted to go for the Doran shield. Just a little bit more safety amidst these trades here.
And as for these trades up happening in the top lane, note that we are seeing Shiro running the minion dematerializer. Not just him, Arhedge and What the Chest are both running it because they know that it's an org can rush the banner of command. Note that we're still playing on patch 8.5.
Yeah, they really want in to make sure covering all aspects of this, although a tad bit of a risk. I mean, let's say if that is not of a feasible strategy for Ascension game, it could be a bit of a waste, that triple, but better safe than sorry, let's say. But in the meantime, Intereso again going for a gutsy move onto the Krugs here from Caspiel.
What an invade.
Yeah, just pretty much a mirror, reminiscent of what happened earlier during game 1. Although this time around, looks like Caspiel actually not gonna go for it. So we are seeing pings here towards this top side from Ascension Gaming, though, that it's highly likely that Caspiel is there. It looks like they will find him.
Looks like Rocky will intercept Caspiel's invade. Still at a risk at a first blood here. He may just go for a smite there onto the big one. And as for Rocky, we'll just pop the Undying grab stacks as we see for Intereso. Well, did go for the Krugs himself. In the end, I think for Caspiel, he got what he wanted, but just by a short margin.
Yeah, short margin indeed. Wasn't able to get the full clear out the same way Intereso did. So at the end of the day, it's a small up victory for the jungler of the Thai team here, but nothing particularly significant. It's just by a small margin. Nothing that leads either side to... Because at the end of the day, you just pretty much traded off those deals, so just pans out.
Pans out, so it's more of the fact that the Skarner has a faster clear than the Sejuani thanks to the Crystal Spires. And the first Drake would be the Cloud Drake for the bot lane. So you can expect that for Ascension, having the Zion Rakan, a volatile bot lane, can immediately go for the aggression.
Speaking of aggression, though, this is just a constant push and coming in from both Lloyd and Rich. They have to be careful. They have to make sure that they're on top of their vision game if ever they're going to continue to shove out this lane. Because if you're going to notice, Caspiel, he is starting to linger towards this bottom side. Could eventually make for a transition if ever both Lloyd and Rich continue to push this. But I think they're going to continue to make the maneuvers to start holding off that wave, start putting it in check and balance.
So far, Ascension and KLH trying their best to read each other's movements, as we see for Intereso in the riverside and for Caspiel in the mid lane. Note that the junglers are kind of close to each other, except it would be Intereso going for the invade. This signals Caspiel to go to G4. Trying to shift away here. Gets locking down 2 stacks. Last stack, 4 permafrost flashes over the wall. Will they go for it? No! They will just disengage from that fight, seeing that they know that Intereso is there.
Yes, man, but that was quite the take there onto G4. At the end of the day, sure, they weren't able to get the kill on him, but I'd say that a flash down for Kassadin, not a bad trade-off. But then again, G4, he is near level 6, so doesn't quite matter as much.
Bad news here for Caspiel. He does not know that for Intreso, he's level 4 and it's in his Crystal Spire zone, so he does have the advantage here.
Yes, and unfortunate here for RH is a little bit on lower of the spectrum of health, so can't really
Smite
respond.
steal.
But yeah, looks like Intreso, ooh, gonna get the stun.
Will he get it out there alive though? Oh boy.
Continuing to run it out.
Oh, the blast cone was kind of close there. G4 is gonna catch at RH off guard there for the ultimate being popped by RH. Teleport coming in.
Yep, but even with that teleport, I don't think that was necessary to continue because the members of Ascension, they were already just pretty much resolute on backing away at that point. So, tad bit of a shame, but at the end of the day, amidst that small squabble, no casualties yet.
Close call for both teams. First blood still not yet secured in our game 4. And as for Calling for Hunters, I gotta say, they're trying their best to at least intercept Intreso's movements, especially his proactiveness in the jungle to go for invades. Successful invades happening on both sides, but on equal grounds. Equal trade-offs, actually.
And looking at things here, so far, Intreso has been a tad bit more successful in terms of taking away camps from Caspiel, but you also have to respect Caspiel here because he's managed to keep himself in check at least. It's still pretty much balanced out between these two junglers, so I wouldn't really say that there's any setbacks, just this small build up towards Ascension, but I think it's translating a tad bit more because of this gold deficit that we're seeing. Just a minor wave between top as well as marksman respectively.
As for the bot lane, they're still just pushing out the waves here. No first blood again, as I said before, for KLH. They're trying their best to hold on because at this point, they have to be very careful. They have to wait for that Vladimir to scale up and wait for the level 6. It did happen now. Stan United is available. That is why Ascension, they are very careful.
This is going to be a massive benefit, G4. Getting that blue buff from Intreso going to grant him a tad bit more safety, additional cooldown if ever he needs that Rift Walk for a more offensive or defensive maneuver. But, bot lane for Ascension, they have to back away now.
Present is available. Flash of Corruption will not connect. That's such a close call.
Zorovecki off on the angle there. Unfortunately, doesn't get the connect. If he did, though, that would have been disastrous for the bot lane of Ascension.
Present is available for Caspiel. He managed to land it directly towards Lloyd, but Lloyd reactively used the Feather Storm just to guarantee the slow. Looks like the engage from KLH would not happen, did not succeed.
That was so unfortunate. Ultimate expended for Zorovecki, ultimate for Caspiel, none of which led to anything positive. Not even summoners down from the side of Ascension Gaming. So that was such a shame as far as that attempt goes for the Malaysian squad. But at the end of the day, still balanced out. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of these attempts, Vulcan, none of which have led to casualties yet. So I think, if anything, if this pace continues wherein we don't see casualty after casualty, I think we're going to eventually revert back to the objective game here. But, Caspiel getting cut out.
What's going to happen here? Because we're seeing again for Intreso, still trying his best to establish a domination in the Lusai. Here it comes. Forge God available to cast. Here it comes. Rolls in here, goes for only one member there, going for the two-man knockup over the wall with a searing charge. First blood goes to G4.
Beautiful collapse right there. One casualty so far. Looks like they want in on Shiro as well. Will G4 go for it? No, they will have to content themselves with that one pick-off. I think if all three members committed on to either RH or Shiro, that would have been an additional kill. Unfortunately, they kind of got a bit greedy there by separating, thinking that they would get those targets, probably increasing the odds of a pickup, but unfortunately didn't quite work out on either end. Still first blood though, so that's workable. Not to mention, denied quite a bit of camps from the side of Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
Very close call for KLH there. But for Ascension, getting the first blood onto G4. This could be the start for something for Ascension.
Yep, and G4 on this Kassadin especially. That's the impressive thing about Ascension Gaming. G4 was pretty much able to last out that awkward phase where he's so vulnerable to potential ganks from Caspiel until such time he did hit level 6. Luckily, he surpassed that right here, and he's starting to pick up on the speed on this Kassadin as he reaches optimal skill. So that's definitely a major positive
for Ascension. Not to mention, if you're going to notice, what's interesting about what G4 built up here, Rod of Ages already completed, but take note of the Double Dark Seal. So this will grant him a tad bit more of a better amplification of the healing power of his potion there.
I think it's for the fact that Ascension, the Rod of Ages was completed very early, but for KLH, they are going to go something here in the bot lane. Finisher has been used by Desire. Lloyd will flash away from danger. Double teleport coming in. This could be the turn, but for Ascension and KLH, they will not commit. But for the Rakan, overstep, down with the Burn Frost connected, and for the Winter Spite for the killing blow.
I think Rich was thinking that that was going to be a continued teleport. Unfortunately, overstepped his boundaries, allowed KLH to get that pick out. That was bad miscommunication coming in from Ascension Gaming.
Definitely. So great play by KLH. Still keeping the dream alive for the Malaysian team here. As for Ascension, maybe at their wits' end here because they're trying to end something. The closer you are to something, the more pressured you would feel. The more the tendencies for mistakes can surface if you are trying to rush it. But for Ascension, they have to be calm. They need to collect themselves back and wait for their spikes. Especially the fact that for G4, finishing up the Roa so early at the 10-minute mark means that they are at an advantage in the mid lane.
Yeah, but so far G4 definitely starting to pop on this Kassadin, already starting to have that potential to trade off with R-Hedge. So I think this is definitely a positive that's building up for Ascension Gaming. Whether or not they can capitalize on just that is something that is yet to be seen, because Caspiel, he's starting to get his game on. We're starting to see a lot more proactivity from him. Let's go ahead and see if that will lead for more positives for the Kuala Lumpur Hunters in order to mount this reverse sweep.
Yes, I mean, the chances for the reverse sweep, the dream is still alive for the Kuala Lumpur Hunters here, as Ascension still trying their best to close in this game. And as we saw before in the bot lane, we can see the aggression coming from KLH, using this as Johnny in the Braum, being paired up together. That is just powerful.
So, looks like a very, very early banner of command put up here by Shiro just to be able to deal with Rocky here in this top lane right now, just so that he has a little bit more of a consistency in the shove out. And not to mention Rocky, I mean, he is running an orange, so it's going to take that extra effort to take that banner of command empowered minion there. So, tricky.
Very tricky indeed for Ascension because they're trying their best to catch KLH off guard, but KLH, they're just doing so well with trying to hold their ground. Looks like this could be an engage here. Blast over the wall. They're eyeing Lloyd. Okay, looks like Lloyd will be the upper hand here to go in for the fight, whereas KLH will disengage with a glacial fissure. There's the Spirit's Refuge with the shield. Will try to deny damage, but in the end, it will be what the just being removed from that fight. Now for Ascension, pinned in that wall. R-Hedge coming in with a Vladimir.
Ooh, but looks like things aren't done just yet. R-Hedge is still on the chase. He wants in on more.
And for Zorovecki taking away that double kill. Looks like Ascension overcommitted to that fight, and for R-Hedge eyeing. Ooh, once in Tressa, but in the end, I think he will survive this one.
Yeah, he's continuing to run it out. Ooh, Hex Stick. Protobelt.
Oh wow, they're not giving up chase here.
Yeah, they just really want to continue to pressure out Intresso here, and the longer it takes, the more it takes for him to recuperate, thus allowing more opportunities for Kuala Lumpur Hunters to go for stuff across the map. But I guess if you're gonna look at what happened there, 1 for 2 at the end of the day, go ahead and check out this replay. So Ascension Gaming, this is what kind of baffles me. They didn't pull the trigger right off the bat, and if you're gonna notice, they were the first to complete their 5-man to go straight in. I think it's just that the tricky part here is that G4 went in and immediately got locked down by the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. He took so much turret damage in the midst of that. And this is what adds further insult to injury for the Thai squad. They got so clumped in that tri-brush right there, and R-Hedge was there in the nick of time to milk that opportunity. And at the end of the day, just, I don't know, Ascension Gaming, they were a tad bit sloppy there. Could have gone way better for them, but just didn't.
And as for the scoreboard, it's 3-3 after that brawl in the bot lane. KLH for the top laners, taking away the banner of command for both of them. And we can see for Shiro's side, has the minion dematerializer, 2 stacks left actually. 3, I think just used it right now. And now we're seeing a teleport.
Yep, teleport.
Glanced out, can a corruption that connect. No follow-up there from KLH. Oh, what's this? R-Hedge going in hard, going to the tri-brush, trying to do something for his team, trying to do something for the Malaysia squad, but in the end, it's Ascension fearing R-Hedge's spike here. Oh, close call. He will not commit to that fight.
Yeah, Ascension Gaming, they try to look for these opportunities, but never quite succeed. I'm not sure if it's the jitters, if they're just shaking, or if it's the composition, but looks like we are going to be
Over the
coming in from our
wall.
head.
Last one coming in. Oh, Lloyd did not get hit by the prison. Did give the better storm. KLH still committing onto Lloyd, but for Caspiel overcommits under the tower. Left for RH to clean up this fight. Can he do it? Resec there flashes there and takes down Lloyd. Can RH still survive? No. G4 will finish him off.
And looks like Ascension, they're going to try to look for more here in the form of What the Just and Ozora Becky. They committed so long to that.
G4 going in for that double kill, trying to clean up the fight for Ascension Gaming. This will be a turnaround, and that will be a sweet triple kill for the Kassadin.
Wow. I guess at the end of the day, Kuala Lumpur Hunters, they went way into deep on that to try to pick up members of Ascension Gaming, but that was just Ascension playing to their strengths right there as far as positioning. They were fighting under turret, just added more amplification to that damage as far as getting themselves bars chunked out, and they're going to get a lot more value by getting this turret. Could potentially even go for a dragon here.
What a lead the Ascension got just from the bottom, misstep by KLH.
Yep, and it's interesting because it was mostly Ascension that was trying to push for opportunities. This time, it was KLH that pushed the envelope a bit too much and paid the price immensely.
Yes, kill score is 47, and the gold lead is in favor for Ascension. Not quite, just a bit. 5,000 mark, a bit too short there over Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Now they're the ones being triumphant here. Now, from that small taste of victory in our second game, now they're being kind of impatient, trying to go in for these aggressive dives. They know they could do it because they have the Vladimir, but they need to be cautious that this Kassadin is already 4-1-3. Triple kill from the bot lane. Here's the replay.
Yeah, so this is what happened here. So Arhead, definitely a gutsy move to go straight in on the members of Ascension Gaming. And he had that potential. I mean, he deals quite a bit of damage. It's just that it took so long for Kuala Lumpur Hunters to get that optimal fight right there. They weren't able to get the maximum value of what resources they use in this fight. And at the end of the day, they lose out on not just 2, but 4 members because of this full-on chase from Ascension afterwards. And that was just beautifully played by the Thai squad at the end of the day. Swapping from the Malaysian squad in exchange.
Great play there by, I gotta say, for Ozora Becky. With the Chain of Corruption being fully channeled, looks like the orc could not be cast the Forge God. So the second cast did not happen.
But looking here towards the top side, looks like Lloyd and Rich want to try to push in. Ooh, great landing
Teleport. Will it come in time? Oh, it just expired, but the slow did connect to Rich. But for KLH, I don't think they would commit to this fight. Seeing out in the bot lane, things are heating up as they are approaching Ozora Becky. There is the Impale onto the barriers, the disengage from the Glacial Fissure. Ascension, the members are kind of low on health. They're still going out to Becky. Takes down the Varus.
That was risky coming in from these 2 tanks, but looks like they're going to get a lot more by getting What the Jest here.
Oh, that would be an easy kill there onto Intresso. That'll be enough for him to scale up and buy more items, especially the Righteous Glory.
KLH, they're starting to make mistakes here that Ascension was very much abundant in earlier, so it's kind of panning out between both sides here. I'm not sure what's going on. Earlier, we've had a lot more of these cleaner, smoother, more calculated plays, but it looks like there's a few fumbles here and there heading into this game 4. I'm not sure if it's because of the pressure, because it's coming down to the wire, but at the end of the day, what we saw here, earlier, there was a fight towards top side. No pickoffs from KLH, but
they go for that dive. Look at that. Shiro trying to buy some time here. Oh, teleport coming in. Will he survive just in time? No, Lloyd takes the last hit. Now Arhead just eyeing Lloyd, but did not see teleport there. Blastcon is there for the escape round.
Yeah, just in the nick of time. RH, unfortunately, was a tad bit in too late for that party. And look at this, all the more value. Intresso, in the midst of all that, was going for this dragon, and he's going to get that take. Man, Vulcan, gold is starting to build up in favor of Ascension, but in all fairness to KLH, they are keeping fairly at bay. It's only a 2,000-2,500 difference at most, so definitely workable for the Malaysian squad.
Definitely, because the fact that for KLH, at this point, kill score is 5-10, but this could change it here. Ooh! I gotta say, what the jest with that Orange Forge God being blocked by the Unbreakable.
Great play. They're coming in from the Sword of Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
They could still go for it here. I don't think that will stop them, but in the end, seeing how what the jest was able to block the Forge God will let Ascension back off. KLH still looking strong here. They can maybe push into a game 5.
Yes, but in the midst of that, though, just continued aggression across the map coming in from Ascension as far as taking what they can in the form of objectives. But finally, patience is a virtue for the Hunters as they're finally able to take this first tier turret towards top side. So objectives are just kind of balancing out here. If anything, it's actually the Kuala Lumpur Hunters that has taken all the first tiers away from Ascension Gaming, and this gives them a better grasp of the map now that Baron is up.
Close call for RH. Managed to go under. Flashes over that wall. And that's going to be the Sejuani KSPL going in for the fight. That's going to be the Rakan going in for the aggressive engage. Couple that up with the charm, and the Fissure is there to slow down Ascension. But rule that enough, they're lining up in the blue side for Ascension to just chip them down. Lloyd is still there. Same with Azor Vicky. Time is right for Vicky to go in for the corruption, but they used it a bit too late. And G4 at this point is just too fed.
Yes, and Ascension was just earlier in on that, and that was absolutely explosive. A lot of value, and Ascension, they're going to be potentially going for this Baron. KSPL is down, so they don't have the threat of that potential smite steal. Looks like the Kuala Lumpur Hunters are going to have to give up that buff, but this is going to be massive. It's going to be huge for Ascension Gaming with that buff now.
Ascension slowly creeping towards, slowly walking to the finish line here as they take away the Baron buff. Ascension Gaming so close for the championship, but for KLH, we saw this before. Ascension managed to take away one Baron buff, but that did not stop KLH. The hope is still alive for Malaysia, and as for Thailand, in the home country where Ascension is playing right now, they want to make their fans proud.
Yes, and with that turret down, that's gonna be more opportunities for Ascension Gaming. They're starting to equal back up in terms of turrets taken between themselves and Kuala Lumpur Hunters. So I'm really wondering, Vulcan, what value Ascension Gaming is going to get out of this, because this is going to be their opportunity right here to start widening that difference as far as their lead goes here. Kuala Lumpur Hunters, they have decent defense going on, but probably not as solid as you would have hoped. So this is going to be beautiful, though. Okay, so buffed up minion for buffed up minion.
This will prove difficult for G4, but good thing he has the red buff to try and dwindle down the health. Now the Baron is in the side for Ascension. Glory has been popped.
Oh,
Not finding anything there. What's going for Zoroveki?
yeah, Ascension, they have to keep their ground a bit there. Are they going to try to go for something here?
Oh, gotta be careful here. They do catch the... Oh my god, they're going straight for KSPL, but there was a standing eye being used here. Alright, here comes the teleport. What's gonna happen for Ascension? As we see G4 zoning at the members of RH and Zoroveki. Meanwhile, in the Riverside, they just destroyed Water Jets and KSPL, removing them from that fight.
Man, oh man, Kuala Lumpur Hunters, not the best scenario for them right there. Shiro was not able to join in on that party, and with that much value by the Ascension Gaming, by taking down those members from the Malaysian squad, this is going to give them all the more potential to push out these turrets. I'm wondering what more can they get out of this. RH, Shiro, and Zoroveki, they're doing their best to go on the defense here.
24 minutes nearing into this game here. KLH and Ascension still trying to fight for that 1 point that can change everything, especially for KLH. At a kill score 5-15, gold lead is still manageable. Only 8,000 gold lead for the side of Ascension.
5 and 15 now on the scoreboard. That gold lead was playing around the 3,000 mark earlier, has widened up to 8,000 in favor of Ascension just because of that Baron buff. Not to mention what pickoffs they did manage to take off the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Such a shame. But then again, this game is not lost just yet. There's still a lot of angles that the Kuala Lumpur Hunters can work with in this case. But let's go ahead and see how they'll deal with just that as these next few minutes unfold. Lucky for them, Baron is pretty much near down, almost, for Ascension Games. So if they can hold out at least this next minute or two, then I think that could be a working ground for Kuala Lumpur Hunters to get back on equal terrain.
Okay, Ascension so close to winning the Garena Premier League spring season. Now, they are going for a reset. This is exciting as KLH. What will they do to try and fight back Ascension's advance here? Because judging by this point, Ascension, they will not wait. They are the ones trying to dictate the flow of this game. Mountain Drake will spawn in 25 seconds. This is going to be the closure for the GPL if KLH could not at least answer the aggression from Ascension.
Exactly, and man, oh man, it's really coming down to the wire between both sides here. But more so G4 not in the best position here, my
Oh
friend.
my god, going in for the gag. Oh, he gets picked off here. This is huge for KLH.
Yes, just a pickoff right there, but at the end of the day, they have to go back because Lloyd and Rich are intent on shoving in this mid lane. KLH is forced to do nothing but respond to just that. And not just that though. Rocky and Entresso going straight in on this Mountain Drake. This will allow them better siege potential, which Ascension Gaming has pretty much been pushing for these past few minutes. So again, even with that pickup on the G4, it's just a small victory. Still a climb that they have to make. They're still playing around that 8,000 deficit.
Oh my god, 8,000 deficit Arctic. I don't think that's a huge obstacle for KLH. This is a team that from the game 2 till game, they bounced back in game 3. So I don't think for KLH will be faced here. Kill score 6-15. KLH, what can you do?
What can they do? Well, I mean, amidst these pickoffs, if they could get a pickoff before the next major buff comes up, then that's definitely an angle that they can work with. Not to mention the fact that if you're going to look at how Ascension Gaming has been maneuvering across this map so far, they haven't been quite grouped up as much. So I think that's something that KLH can capitalize on, looking at what tools that they have. I mean, they have the Sejuani, they have the Varus, they have the Braum. So they have a lot of CC that they can potentially work with. Probably layer it out with Shiro through Stand United if they need that extra head into a taunt. So there's a lot that they can work with here, and it's not quite lost just yet. If anything, Ascension Gaming, they're still holding their cool here, not pushing the envelope too much because they know that KLH can mount potential small comebacks that could build up to equaling the scoreboard.
Ascension, a bit impatient as we can see that they're trying to ease up to the tension here as they're so close. But for Ascension, look how they're playing. Still calm and collective. Going by the book here. They do not want to go for any risk because as we see the Baron buff being spawning in. 1 minute and 13 seconds. Oh, G4 again. He can't be picked up here. Oh! Oh
Wow.
my god! What a hard attack. Chain of Corruption Prison has not connect. 2 ultimates have been burnt by KLH for G4. What a decisive flash.
Wow, that just crossed over
Oh
G4.
my god.
But this is going to be big for Ascension Gaming, knowing that 2 crucial ultimates are down from the side of Kuala Lumpur Hunters. They know that they could potentially go for a fight here, knowing that KLH lost out on 2 of those crucial fights that could have otherwise swayed things in their favor if ever they do take these full 5v5s.
Oh my god. Man, if G4 got caught by that, that would have been something big for KLH to take out. I mean, possibly getting control of the vision, starting there from the Baron pick, because we're seeing right now, Ascension, they're waiting. They're welcoming the second coming of the Baron here as we are seeing the timer. 18 seconds left.
What I love about KLH though is that amidst all this proactivity from Ascension Gaming, they haven't lost out on a single inhibitor turret just yet, just because of how on point they are with being mounting a defense as much as possible. This could be a fight right here, Vulcan.
Oh my god, that's going to be KLH going in for the fight here, but they are not respecting the fact that Stand United is coming in. Forge God, where's the knockup? Oh, good not channel through. Vision was there to try and slow things down there, but looks like we are seeing Ascension cleaning up the fight. Oh, 4 members down. Can they end the game here?
Oh man, looks like they're gonna try to go for cast.
Teleport coming in.
Oh no, looks like
yes.
they can go for more here.
Oh my lord. Looks like Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Only Caspiel remains. And Ascension. They're knocking down the inhibitor. The inhibitor is exposed. I don't think they can end it here. Ozorapeke will spawn in 12 seconds. And the Braum will be live in 7. They can just go for the Baron. They are pinging it right now. Going for the Baron instead.
Yes, they're just taking the much more safer route here before going for Baron. Take advantage of the fact that those inhibitors are open for the taking, and immediately, while KLH is dealing with what waves are pushing in onto them, that's the moment to go for that Baron right there. KLH is in no position to contest this, and this is going to be massive for Ascension Gaming. It's just getting all the more intense, Vulcan. This could be the Baron that sets the game for Ascension Gaming.
The second Baron will go to Ascension. Skill score 6-19. Gold lead is now at a monumental. Oh my god, 13,000 now. 13,000 gold lead for Ascension, but KLH. Is the hope, is this the end for KLH? Does the road end here? Because at this point, they need to do something about this. Because in terms of clashes, they have what it takes to try and block off as much aggression coming from Ascension. They were trying to go for pickups here, trying to go for G4.
But And amidst these pickoffs right here, first one was quite the success. Second one, they just whiffed all those ultimates. And I think that was what led Ascension to for the confidence to just go for those sieges, go for those fights from what we saw here. And it's just insane what value they get amidst all of that success in whatever fights that they do take. So with this Baron on their side, I'm just all the more fearful for the Kuala Lumpur Hunters at this point. Looks like we do see a convergence here. Could that be an opportunity? Unfortunately not. Rocky smells something is kind of up right there. And Ascension Gaming, they're going to go for a siege here. Can this lead to a fight though?
Oh. Okay, 30 minutes into this game. 6-90 kill score. What's going to happen? Ascension knocking on the base. Oh, inhibitor turret is kind of low here. But for Ascension, gotta be careful here. Note that corruption is actually on a cooldown. Oh yeah, here it comes. Ascension going in for the end, possibly the end. Oh, Lloyd with the Zaya. Here it comes. Trumpets for Ascension as they will be the ones to defeat the Hunters.
Yes, oh my goodness, it's only Shiro up and kicking, but looks like this is going to be the ace right there.
Here
looks
it comes.
like there's so much celebration already coming in from the side of the Thai squad right there. That's going to be Nexus Turret number 1. That's Nexus Turret number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, your champions of the 2018 Garena Premier League. Congratulations, Ascension Gaming of Thailand. You're going to be our reps heading in to the mid-season invitational.
We have our winner for the GPLC Spring Season 2018. The representative going into MSI, carrying the pride of Southeast Asia. Congratulations to Ascension Gaming.
Woo. Well played right there. As soon as Ascension Gaming started taking fights, they just capitalized on it immensely because Kuala Lumpur Hunters lost out on so many resources in opportunities that they shouldn't have. That was just Ascension just punishing them for that like crazy, and the value that they got of what they can when Kuala Lumpur Hunters fumbled in fights was just pretty much on point. And there you have it right there. They're going to be taking that trophy, the very last GPL trophy that we'll ever see here in Southeast Asia before the massive changes for esports. What a great time to be a gamer.
What a sight to see as Ascension holds the trophy, the token for them, the achievement they had here. Let's hope for their success in the MSI as they will carry the pride of Southeast Asia. Once again, congratulations to Ascension Gaming from Thailand.
Very well played, very well deserved. They've pretty much been in the shadow of Vietnam for such a long time now, but with their absence, with Vietnam out of the GPL, with them being considered as their own person, as their own region, this was the time for the Thai squad to shine. And I think with the demonstration of how strong that they were going into the GPL, I'd say it's very well deserved, this time with a full Thai roster. So all the more pride for the peeps in Thailand right there.
What a journey it was for the GPL group stages. It actually ended in such actually a lot of heartbreaks here, especially the fact for KLH, the fans were disheartened from games 1, games 2, and this game match point. And as for the run for Mineski, they will end their GPL with the 3rd spot. And as for Kuala Lumpur Hunters, we'll end it with the 2nd. And as for Ascension, the champions.
Yep, but nonetheless, I mean, it's been quite the journey. It's been quite the long weekend for all of us here that covered the Garena Premier League. I'd also like to give my shout out to Bigatron Esports of Indonesia, Mineski of the Philippines. Let's see if I can get all of these peeps. Sovereign of Singapore, and of course Kuala Lumpur Hunters of Malaysia.
There you go.
Got all 4 of them for, they played out their hardest, like I mentioned, in just from day one. This is probably one of the most competitive GPLs that we've had yet. Even with the absence of Singapore, everybody stepped up their game with their rosters, with how they came into this. But at the end of the day, truly deserving. Ascension Gaming gonna ascend their way to MSI.
Thank you so much for supporting the GPL Spring 2018, and thank you so much for tuning in to the English City broadcast in the Garena Philippines YouTube channel. My name is Vulcan again. With me was Arteg. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GPL Spring 2018 as we say goodbye to GPL and giving our hopes and prayers towards Ascension Gaming to represent us C region. Thank you so much and see you again, maybe on the Rift.